No doubt Mike Eppel is watching it too, because the world of business, this is a huge business announcement, isn't it, Mike?
Yeah, and how do you separate yourself from the company that bears your name, and when your kids are basically in charge of the day-to-day operations, how do you keep the information regarding the state of affairs for the United States away from the business operations and potential conflicts of interest? Because obviously if you have some sort of a trade deal going into place and you know about it in advance, then theoretically your business could take advantage of that. But again, the rules are very murky, shall we say, regarding having to put one's business into a blind trust when you are the President of the United States. And we've never really been faced with a scenario of this nature, because typically they're politicians who get these jobs, not business leaders. And it's kind of interesting, Kevin, to see as well who Donald Trump is surrounding himself with in his cabinet appointments. And it's a sea of billionaires, actually, with Wilbur Ross, the turnaround specialist, head of commerce, and as well Steve Mnuchin, who is a founding partner at Goldman Sachs and a big movie financier, had money in the movie Avatar, of all things. He's going to be up in charge of Treasury. So, again, a lot of interesting names being bandied about and named by Donald Trump, Mitt Romney notwithstanding. And it's also interesting as well, the timeline, all of this, when the Obama administration, or President Obama was president-elect back in '08, he hadn't even named any members of the cabinet by this point in his term. So kind of interesting how all of the pieces are falling into place here. As well, Donald Trump was on Twitter last night, Kevin, talking about the Carrier air conditioning operations in Indianapolis, which apparently won't be moving to Mexico, as had been the discussion from United Technologies, the owner of Carrier, back during the election campaign. Donald Trump, a harsh critic of that. And of course, VP Mike Pence is the former governor of Indiana, so they're keeping jobs in Indianapolis and not moving to Mexico. And an announcement on that, according to the Donald, will be forthcoming tomorrow. Price for oil is surging right now. It is up by 7% in overseas markets. The optimism for OPEC, the cartel, meeting in Vienna right now, and the talk is that they will announce a production agreement today to cut output for the first time in 8 years. This is it was telegraphed back in September already, so we've been having this 2-month lead up to this announcement today. And just as of yesterday, there was speculation that a deal wouldn't get done, and which players will be participating. Will Iraq and Iran, for example, have to cut, or will they keep at current levels and the other OPEC nations cutting back? Regardless, the price for oil is surging in the early trade this morning by as much as 7%, so that's going to have a filter-through effect into the Canadian markets today, certainly. Last night, after the close of trade, we had the Prime Minister Trudeau talking about the approval for 2 controversial pipeline projects in Western Canada. One, the Trans Mountain pipeline for Kinder Morgan, and that's actually got opposition in Vancouver proper, because it ends there, and they're expanding that greatly, and maybe some more tankers going into the port of Vancouver. So again, a lot of moving parts in the early trade this morning, not to mention the I don't want to forget about the earnings from the Royal Bank, which are in this morning, Kevin, at $2.6 billion for the 4th quarter. So that's going to be a market mover today as well. Back to you.
All right. What was that? Mike Eppel does not want anyone to know it's his birthday today. Okay, good. All right. We won't mention it then, Mike. Little birthday gift for you, Mr. Eppel. We will not mention it is your birthday today, sir.
Thank you.
Woo! Happy birthday.